Howdy, so I wanted to talk about this game I started called Awakening Sarah. And I played this through Steam on PC. Now, this is kind of an old school, like 16-bit looking experience. It's a side-scrolling platformer. And you play this character who is in a psychiatrist's office. And the game starts out with you in this office, and the psychiatrist is like, all right, it's time to start. And then you kind of start your session. And then once the session starts, you get teleported to this side-scrolling hub world. And in this side-scrolling hub world, you have these different doors. And that is one of the things I like about this game, is that it's something a little bit different where you can go into all these different levels that are available to you kind of in any order you want. And when you go through each door, you get into a new map, essentially. And you're basically jumping around in the map. There's no fighting or anything like that. It's sort of a Metroidvania, kind of. As you're going through the game, you're basically checking out the map, and then you'll run into a point that you just can't proceed further. And more than likely, you need an item. And then your goal is to try to find these items that you need so you can check out as much of the map as you can. Now, at the scroll wheel of this map, so there's a wheel in which you can check the inventory. And there's a lot of slots, y'all. There's at least 10 to 15 slots, it feels like, of items. That's a lot for a game, it feels like to me. So I was like, oh boy, there's a lot to look at here. And some items you need might be in a different map. So you'll have to X out the map you're in, go a different one, bring that item over. So I was like, I kind of like that element to it a lot. And then there's one world you go into as well where you get transported, and then the game totally shifts into an old school early 90s PC 3D game, out of the mid to late 90s. It's a first person, and then you're running around outside of this museum, which is interesting and different. I have no idea why that happens. And then if you go inside the museum, it's back to the 2D scrolling, and you get to this part where you need to get past the security guard. And I feel like that's kind of part of the end goal of the game. But to be honest, besides that, I don't really know what's happening in this game. I'm going around collecting things and opening up paths, but I don't know why I'm doing it. And, I get some games, not all games need a story. Not all games, need an explanation of what's going on necessarily. But for me to run around and do what I'm doing and not even fighting anything or have too much action or anything like that, I'm just wondering why I'm doing anything, really. I'm lost interest kind of in this game because I couldn't figure out why I'm spending the time to do all this. What is it all for? I get you're inside the head, and I'm sure there's a lot of metaphors hidden in there and stuff like that, but I just didn't have any motivation to keep going after a while. And I spent some time with, I checked out the different worlds and all that and was looking around. The movement felt okay. I like the fact that you can just hold the up button to swim whenever there's moments of where you can swim in a game instead of having to press a button constantly to swim up or something like that. You could transform into the slime, and you move through these pipes to get around the world at certain elements too. And the colors were kind of cool. Each world had a different theme to it, where one was more flower-based, and then one was more kind of red and medicine and blood-based, and then another one that was winter-themed, And that was kind of cool to see, but yeah, I just kind of lost interest in this game after playing it for a while, because I started running out places to look for items, and I wasn't sure where to go. I had no idea what the story was. I didn't really know anything about this character that I was playing. And most importantly, I don't know why I'm doing anything. So there's no motivation there for me to really keep going, and the gameplay is fine, but if you don't have some huge exciting element in there, to counteract not having as much of a story, then it doesn't really work as well, at least for me. If you're gonna have something that's very vague on story, have some sort of action or something in there besides just looking around, picking up items and stuff like that. I mean, there are, you know, tons of puzzle sort of games out there and all that, but there's at least like an interesting world, or there's some sort of background lore or something that sets something up, like a room or House of Da Vinci or something like that. You know, people like their puzzle games. I like puzzle games. I'm not very great at them, but I like playing those. And this just felt like it was like kind of a sort of simplistic, but also not telling you enough of what you need to know to keep going. There's no map either. Like, if you're in these different hub worlds, you don't have a map or anything. So that's where it's like the Metroidvania sort of sense. Like, there's no way to look and see where you're going or where you need to go. And nothing kind of telling me, like, what my main goal was or what the next steps were. It was a little too open in terms of what you were supposed to do. So, if you like the sort of freedom to kind of explore everything on your own without having any sort of real context or story, maybe there's like a specific set of people that would enjoy this experience. But at least for me, I didn't love it. But yeah, you know, you could check out PC and Steam and see for yourself. Maybe you have a different opinion on it than I do, but I can't say I would go out and get this game.